All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Starting Over podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos. This is part two of episode 42 for record keeping sake. Now, we're going to talk about the downside of the streets of Gotham and what this means for No Man's Land month 6. And because in month 6 you have to win the Batcave, you have to pretty much, with lack of a better words, just compile from Batman and Streets of Gotham set, which I think by that time, really, they should have had Teen Titans out as well, so they should have allowed you to use Teen Titans too, but yeah, I may be wrong on the release dates. It seems that they crammed so much in such a short period of time. Okay, so let's sort of bring all this back together. What is the downsides in Streets of Gotham? Really, the downside is that we're paying so much for outwit. There's not a lot of cheap outwit, really, and it's like situational. Oh, I got it cheap. So situational. The other thing you might even notice, me pulling out with me pulling out the best figures from that set, you'll notice like, oh look, when I roll doubles, I get this. You can't ever plan on that. WizKids, it would be one thing if the effects were ridiculously strong. Oh, I roll doubles. I get to do 5 damage to you and take a token off. Okay, then I'd be like, yeah, that's going to happen every once in a while. Or if somebody really has hot dice, then yeah, they just did awesome. But the effects of if I roll doubles, this is sort of mediocre, is the frustrating thing. And take Dr. Hurt, for example. Dr. Hurt is a prime example. Okay? When the attack roll misses and it was doubles, remove an action token from a friendly character that is not the attacker. Okay, so let's look at it. What does that mean if I'm going to use this ability? Or if this ability is going to come into play? That means I most likely have a 9 or lower attack value versus a 18 or higher attack value. And I have to roll what? 8, pretty much. 18 or lower. Really, you might actually be looking at an 8 for most of these. So that, okay, so I can roll, if I have an 8 attack, then I'm trying to attack some target and I miss. I can roll double 5s, double 4s, double 3s, and double 2s. I can't roll double 1s. Double 1s are automatically crit miss, doesn't matter. And it doesn't apply for any effects. Now, here's what I'm going to say. If I am wrong on this, I really hope I do, because this says miss. It doesn't say hit. But usually critical miss is removed from most other effects that they're tied to. So I could be wrong, because this is the first effect that really comes in with you missing and directly says doubles. So, but you can see it's just so much stuff that is ridiculously bad that I have to roll doubles for. And so if you have an effect and you really want to use it, it has a place on your team. You can't depend on it. And that is the worst thing about Streets of Gotham, is that you can't depend on most of the really cool effects because they happen at random. So now you're in a tough position, because now you have to decide, am I going to keep relying on these random effects, or am I actually going to, ignore it? And I hate to say it, you're just almost better off ignoring it. Oh, gosh. Anyway, the next thing that we're going to look at is the bad of Streets of Gotham is we don't see any strong motivation of laying out heavy damage. If you look at Streets of Gotham, you're really going to notice it's just a bunch of 3 damage, like all over the place. I don't think There's only like 1 4 damage, possibly, and that's Hawk. Maybe Killer Croc too. No, Hawk. That's it. I think that's it. Everybody else is pretty much just 3 or lower. Now, why is this an issue? Well, as it stands now, with how much you're paying, most of these figures are adequate. They're not exceptional. And you really need exceptional nowadays. Definitely for No Man's Land. You need exceptional. And not only that, the problem also is like with Batman set, there's so much stealth. And even with Streets of Gotham, there's so much stealth and so little charge in this set. So little charge. What are you going to do? What are you realistically going to do? Not much. So that's my problem is it's like you have low damage, you have these ranges, no charge, and it just puts you in this very, very tough situation. And you sort of just want to take a step back and then ask design team, if you all knew in approved play that this was coming, what type of atmosphere did y'all want? Did you all want something that was very positional, or did you want something that was going to go slow so that are tight games? Like what? Because just by looking at the set, I'm like, man, this is not that awesome. Okay, when it comes to No Man's Land, but I'm jumping around, so I apologize on that. The next thing is that the minions are okay. The minions, the only minion that really, really stands out, now note, I said stands out, didn't say it was not good, or that the rest aren't good, but really stands out is from the team pack is the motor officer. Just because his effect is definitively so strong. It's so strong. But here's the disadvantage. You have to do a ranged combat action to get it to key off. And you can even listen to, some of my conversations with George about Batman set. And really, there's not a lot of excellence in Batman set either. But when you start looking at No Man's Land, you're looking at just the packaging element. You have to say, what, can I be content with the product that I'm getting? And a lot of that just base set is not very usable. And there's so much, I hate to say it like this, there's so much waste. Yes, you can play Zaz's or Calendar Man and Hawk or Ice, or you can have fun with them, and they can do sort of interesting, cool things now and then. But you're really not going to be using GCPD Sergeant that much. He's just way too expensive for what he does, and so that's where I sort of feel is frustrating. Like, okay, let's look at GCP Sergeant, for example. He has 2 clicks, running shot and range combat expert, 10 attack. Right there, 51 points. Right there, that's bad design. You're like, well, there's options. Like, really, is there? Then, after you get past your running shot and range combat experts, you get that lovely enhancement energy shield deflection. Okay. All right. So that doesn't make sense. Now look at Dial A. Dial A, 6 movement, 10 attack, 16 defense, energy shield deflection. Stats are exactly the same. Go and look at his special powers. You got Cover Fire, which is GCPD Sergeant can use toughness when GCPD Sergeant is adjacent to a friendly character with the police team ability. Modify both characters' defense values by +1, if not already modified by this effect. So that's sort of nice. You get a little defensive option there. And then you get Group Organizer is GCPD Sergeant can use leadership and perplex. Okay, but there's the catch. When he uses leadership, all friendly characters with the police team ability are considered to have a lower point value. Now, yes, you can take your tokens off of figures with the police TA, but they have to have the actual police team ability. And I'm betting that's what the card is going to show. But again, things have been a little wonky since things have been wonky. So I don't know if you have to be printed or actually have that team ability. Okay, so just again, bear with me, people. All right, so he can remove tokens off. Yay. But here's the problem. That's 51 points that I have to get to click 2 to get the real advantage of you doing anything on my team. So I have to push off my click 1. And from that point on, your sharpshooter on the other dial is pretty much useless. You can say, well, Dark Logos, you can use enhancement and improve that. Yeah, I know, but really, am I going to waste an enhancement most times on GCPD Sergeant? I'm not. Not on that dial when he has the best support powers. And they didn't even break them up. But the frustrating part of it all, really, when it comes down to, like, just looking at the whole thing in particular, is you're looking to fill in for other things, and you're looking to fill in for theme teams, and then it's just like, oh, I just happen to find this quirky figure that does this. And then some of the quirks go off great, like Lady Blackhawk, and then some of them just fall flat. Just like I feel like GCPD Sergeant. He does not live up fully for his point cost for what a 51-point support figure does or a 51-point attacker does. And let's really look at it. 51 support, see what you get from him. Add some more points on, see what you get from Dr. Hurt. Subtract some points, see what you get from Mr. Bruce Wayne. I mean, what is it? Not Bruce Wayne. What's the LE? Thomas Wayne. Look at your support. And you can say, well, this is specifically for police. Yeah, I understand. But if we're really looking at some support, okay, we get +1 to the character's defense if they have the police team ability. Okay, so who are we next to and how high is our average defense? We're looking at like maybe hitting the 18 on some figures. Maybe. Okay, then you're going on and saying, oh, we can use leadership. And in Perplex, well, at least we don't have Perplex that's limited. So that's sort of nice. But now we're back in that situation where, ooh, you have leadership and you can take tokens off of higher point value figures. Okay, that's sort of cool. But they have to have the police team ability. It would be different if they said police keyword. Then he would be on a top list of, oh my gosh, you won't believe what I just saw type figures. But he's not. And yeah, can it help your cruiser? Can it help Lieutenant Gordon? Can it help all this other stuff? Yeah, it can. But you're looking at a very situational effect that I don't think can go off as well. But again, can it be used? Yes. Can it be used effectively? Yes. Is it to fill in a gap? Yes. Is it dependable? No. It's really not dependable. And then you look at some of these boosts. It's like, oh, this boost is wonderful. It's like, no, it's not wonderful. It's okay. And so that's really what's frustrating is the massive amount of subpar. The chases, while interesting for what they are there to do, I feel like I'm watching. Like, you ever play the game Gotham City Imposters? It makes me feel like I'm looking at Gotham City Imposter clicks. Like they're supposed to be awesome, but they're really not. You can also look at those Batman chases, and you're like, oh, look, well, here's a prime example of you being able to use that GCPD Sergeant. What, man? Yeah, sort of. But I don't think they're that impressive. I just think they were a money grab item. Anyway, so overall, there's a lot of stuff in this set that's just sort of subpar. Like, okay, Fire. Oh, come on, man. Fire. They compared to her previous incarnation, she's really weak, and her reign. You're just putting her in there for Justice League International. Like, that is the only reason that you'll be playing her. And even then, there's some better Justice League International pieces for cheap. But, uh, gosh, oh gosh, it just hurts. Hawk hurts so bad. Hawk hurts so bad when I look at him from the main set. The one from the Fast Forces is actually good. The one from the main set is horrible. So bad. He makes me rub my head. Oh, anyway, next thing, let's really look at it. Going on a little deeper. How much charge do we actually have, really, in Streets of Gotham? We really have very little charge. And when we move forward into the meta, there's going to be problems with really how are we going to navigate with everyone with this flood of Batman stuff. With this massive flood of Batman stuff, how are we going to navigate? All this stealth. There's, what are we going to do? Yeah, OMAC. Hey, great. We can bust out an OMAC. But how many other figures can we really bring out? The charge flurry is nice, but the charge flurry with the numbers that are given to the figures, I sort of find a little disheartening. Just a tad. But the only one that I think that was really did the charge flurry thing was Guy Gardner. That was like, ooh, you do it really well. But the problem with Guy Gardner is that he's almost 150 points. And in this meta, 150 points has to do more. I know that sounds so bad. I know that sounds so bad. Even after I gave him big ups and all that. And I mean, it's still good and it's still solid. But you can't just look at him and say, oh yeah, I'm going to just play Guy Gardner and I'm going to be dependent on Guy Gardner doing what he does and it's going to work out for my team. No, you have to be like, I am betting on Guy Gardner and I'm betting on everything else I'm building around with Guy Gardner and this map because I'm playing theme and or this scenario or these restrictions that the judge put in place. Then Guy Gardner becomes scary. But other than that, he's at a disadvantage. So those are my gripes with Streets of Gotham. I think overall it's a fill-in. It's like all of the material that was left over from Batman set, and then they said, "Ooh, we have too much leftover B and C grade material. Let's just do another set, and we'll just call it Streets of Gotham." So it's street level stuff, so people can understand why they're downgraded. And then all of a sudden, it's acceptable. So I can say, like, you get sort of deceived by the name. Even with Batman, you're like, oh, it's a Batman set, so I don't expect to see all this super powerful stuff. Really? But if I say Justice League, then anyway. So for those people that wanted some, normal street grade figures, and I won't lie, to an extent, I want them too. They're great and fun, but I think you're going to have problems. So let's go on to No Man's Land Month 6. What does that mean? If it's limited to, bear in mind, people, if it's limited to No Man's Land and, I'm going to assume it's going to be Batman set and Streets of Gotham. Now, No Man's Land is its own set, so technically ask your judge if the utility belt or any of the figures from the No Man's Land set can be used. You need to ask, because it's not guaranteed. Because I know for a couple of events that I went to, the Infinity Gauntlet wasn't usable. Since we were playing for Thanos. But that was a little bit more thematic, sort of. Because the idea was Thanos had it. But anyway, going on, when we look at everything, the Streets of Gotham and the Batman set together in a No Man's Land event is going to be rough. Definitely at a 600 point constructed. The first problem that we're going to see is what? We're most likely going to be on a locked map, just like the same way we were locked for Infinity Gauntlet. And so that's the key thing. is once we see the map, then again, all sorts of, ideas and stuff changes. The first thing that pops to my mind is no matter what the map, what your most dominant line of choice should be is police. And yeah, I just poo-pooed on police and a bunch of different things, yes. But take a step back. Okay. With Commissioner Gordon, cop cars, Arkham Asylum guards, and that motor cop, you have everything you need to take on whatever you want. Just put in police, and it's going to be ridiculous. And just for fun's sake, just for fun's sake, I'm going to go and look at police and see what pops up. And this is a live search. This isn't prepped. So this is going to be me being shocked and surprised with you as I list off all the cool stuff that you can use. Okay, so let's see. We have GCPD officer, GCPD detective, GCPD sergeant, Renee Montoya, The Question, Harvey Bullock, Harvey Dent, Commissioner Gordon, motor officer, the Chase Batmans, which are blah, the GCPD motorcycle, Arkham Asylum guard, Aaron Cash, Sasha Bordeaux, Dick Grayson, Batwing, Nightwing, Two-Face, GCPD cruiser. That is a large selection of figures. That is a very large selection of figures. So between all of that, you have tons of stuff. Now, even more so if you say like, I'm not really feeling that, that's fine too. That's more than fine. What you can really say is, what other options do you have? You have some Batman options, but really once you add in that cop car for police, it's sort of GG. And here's why I say it's sort of GG. It's not a guaranteed win, but you can really hurt some folks because all of a sudden range is viable because you're able to run a figure over with the car. Now bear in mind, here is some shenanigans. Commissioner Gordon gets into position. He gives the car a power action to move half its movement or 4 squares or whatever it is toward him. On the way, the cop car runs a figure over, moves it out. Then the cop car takes a range shot on that figure, okay, which it couldn't do normally unless you use Lieutenant Gordon to get these men in position, then shoot it afterward. Then you can have, let's say, Guy Gardner take a shot or OMAC take a shot. Then it's viable. All of a sudden, range has become viable. But you have to pack a cruiser. And I don't know how much hindering terrain is going to be up and around. So I don't know if the whole map is just flooded with hindering terrain. Then yeah, stealth is still good, even if you do move that opponent into that one square that's not hindering terrain. You're still probably have to cross stealth. So that is possible. Okay. So the Gotham City PD Cruisers is by far like the meta piece. The meta piece you must run. Next to that, I would say, is Alfred. Alfred. And I'm not talking about from Fast Forces. I'm going to go under the assumption that Fast Forces are not allowed. Now, if Fast Forces are allowed, there are several figures from the Fast Forces that are just awesome. That change the game. But the next thing that I would say that you really want to look at is Justice League. And you're saying, dark logos, you're talking about theme teams, and what's the real big advantage? It's mainly we want to try to do theme just a little bit, and I don't know what side is going to be like which side is going to be better. But also the main reason that we want theme is that there is so little prob in this set. So little prob in this set. You're talking what? Batman Azurin R, Void, who else? Booster Gold on Click 2. So that's it. That's all the prob you get. Now there could be more. I'm just not quite sure. Does Dr. Hurt give you prob? Yeah, I think Dr. Hurt. Yeah, no, Dr. Hurt does not give me. Probably gives me outwit. Uh, so so I know there's some other figure that's giving me prob. I just can't remember right now. I need to take my omega 3 tablets to increase my brain capacity. But you have so little prob, and you when you have to get these hits off, gosh, I can't imagine going into that no man's land month 6 without 3 or 4 probs of some sort at minimum, with all the super senses and everything else. It's just, yeah, I can't see you going in with only like 1 prob or 2 probs for the total game. You're going to need more than that. The next thing that I will say that is quite nice is there's an okay amount of wild carding, and there is, I think there's only one Mystics, and that's that Chase Batman. I'm not quite sure on that one though. Uh, yeah, I think it's just that one Batman. So you don't really have to worry about Mystics. But if you do pull that Chase Batman, you can use him. He's not horrible. I just don't think he's worth noting. And then you have something to work with. The one piece that I think that is going to cause everyone fits is Cape Crusader. Cape Crusader with utility belt. I think a lot of people are going to ride their entire Batman uh, No Man's Land month 6 on that. Because to give him +2 stats, flurry, move the bats out for free, get the bats into position, change places with the bats, charge, flurry for 14 attack, 5 damage. There, you can't overlook that. And then even if he ends up being stuck, once he has to go, he could just swap places with the bats again. But he's bound to have killed at least one more than his points at that point, after he does that charge flurry. And then if you can perplex up his attack again, he could take out 2 characters. He really can. So the Cape Crusader is the one where I'm like, ooh, watch out for that. Now, again, people, what is good practices and better practices? You got to look at that. Good practices and better practices. Cape Crusader is good. His biggest weakness is those flock of bats. Now, you might say, how is that? Because the flock of bats can only get so far. I think they can free move off of. They can free move off of Cape Crusader, I think. Plus, you have that bat sonar thing that you can sort of move them around with as well. That bat sonar is awesome, but again, if it's allowed, because the bat sonar is from No Man's Land. I think so. I think it is. Oh well. So that's just something to think about. I think the other main figure that really has to be concerned about is cop cars with proper pilot and Green Lantern Batman. That is scary. That is real scary. More scary than you would want to admit scary. Because the biggest weakness of Green Lantern Batman is that for him he can't see through stealth. So the cop car solves that. If that's solved, then all of a sudden he's in a position where he can just light people up from really good range and have really good stats while doing it. Really, really, really good stats. So I would definitely say, think about him. And then also I outwit you. Now I running shot. And then I'm in position and I carried half the team. And I'm not even at half my points yet. So there's just a ton of goodness there. With all the perplex and support and everything else that you can get, that Batman can light some people up. The next figure that I think that's going to be almost mandatory play by everybody is Big Barda. Just for the fact that Big Barda just gets past all that stealth stuff and she just comes in and says, are you a problem? I guess you are. I guess you're dead after I hit you with this rock. Uh, there's nothing you can do between the two sets to stop Big Barda from phasing up and hitting you with a heavy. There's nothing. So you can just accept it or just accept it. That's it. You can't plan around it. You can't plan to stop it. The only thing that you can try to do is stop, like surround the figure that you want to protect. And that's it. That's it. One figure I think that's going to be overlooked, but I think is really solid is Rocket Red. Yes, range shot. I know. Again, cop cars. You're like, oh my gosh, Dark Logos, what? You're just saying the cop cars is the complete answer to everything for No Man's Land. And I am going to tell you, yes, it is. A piloted cop car, get two if you can, is the complete answer to just about everything that you're going to be dealing with No Man's Land. Oh, they're perplexed up, run them over with a cop car. Oh, I need to get them out of stealth, run them over with a cop car. Oh, I just need them a little bit closer so I can charge in flurry. Run them over with a cop car. It is literally the perfect solution to everything that you need. So, if you have a cop car and you don't play it, that's stupid. I rarely say that on this show. I really rarely say that on this show. But if you have the cop cars and you don't play the cop cars, unless there's like some restriction, like no vehicles, or it has to be a complete non-generic theme or something like that, you are stupid if you don't play it in piloted mode. With a pilot that works, and you don't even have an excuse now to say, oh, I can't get a cheap pilot. There's tons of cheap pilots out of Streets of Gotham that fit all the prerequisites. So anyway, another one that I think is really good is that Scarecrow. Now, the Scarecrow, the main reason we want Scarecrow is free smoke cloud. With as many Batmans as we have, if we need to cross the mighty desert, if there is any, of no hindering terrain, we want to make sure someone has water. And that one with water is Scarecrow. Scarecrow throws out his puffy smoke cloud, boom, all of a sudden we're hitting. We're good to go. The next figure I think that I really feel is going to be the game changer. Really, there's two figures that I think are going to be the game changers. The first is Dove, and the second one is Bruce Wayne Hush. Okay. Dove, for the pure fact that once you start perplexing up damage on Dove, people are going to be like, what the heck? The second is Bruce Wayne Hush. He can sort of come back late game. I think he's one of those figures that late game, he can do a lot of interesting things. It's just the question of your confidence with him. The other question is that depending on the wording, you could use him for Batman Nightwing. Depending on the wording. Okay? For what they allow for names to merge into Batman and Nightwing. I know it's lame. I know it's so lame. I do. But, think about this. Of all the figures between Bruce Wayne, Batman, Nightwing, and Dick Grayson, which one is most likely going to have the highest chance of being on the top click? This Bruce Wayne. Wouldn't he have done some healing by the time you think about merging? Yep. And when you do merge, will you freak the heck out of your opponent? Yep. There we go. All right. Okay. Now, the overall big key thing that I want to say that we need to be mindful of in this set is, I mean, in No Man's Land Month 6 is, since prob is limited, range only really works with the cop car. You need to be in this mindset. You have something to kill a cop car and something that is going to allow you to deal with to deal with stealth. And you can't say, well, I just drag figures around, or I can use that Batman that has Superman TA. That one sucks. The Speeding Bullets Batman. Ugh. Ugh. That's he sucks. That is bad design there. But with him though, okay, let's say you do decide to run Speeding Bullets Batman. The best thing I can tell you is make sure you have wild cards. That's the only reason to. And make sure that you set stuff up where your wild cards can function well. The next thing I will say, if you're going to look at Streets of Gotham as your primary pull, your main battery of figures, if you can get multiples of David Kane and find your really good under 75 point figure, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to look real quick. What figures can we find 75 points and lower, and that we might feel that it's comfortable teaming up with David Kane. Okay, and this is going to be a roller coaster ride here, because like I said, I'm doing it with you live. Well, not live, but immediately as I'm talking to you. All right, so let's see here. Out of everybody that sort of shows up, Blue Beetle's okay. Fire, you can put Fire in there. Yeah, not the best, but you have some Perplex and Enhancement, and all of a sudden she can hit for a little bit better. Okay, Huntress, that's actually pretty good. Huntress, 59 points. I don't like Renee Montoya. That doesn't sound good. Harvey Bullock, not really. Let's see. Calendar Man, definitely not. Calendar Man's like a joke. Commissioner Gordon, there you go. That's sort of okay. Let's see. Black Mask, I don't like him. Let's keep going down. Oh, here we go. Arsenal. 72 points. Running shot. 9 attack. He has the time bomb arrow. Arsenal can use Incapacitate. When he does, choose a hit character. At the beginning of your turn, roll a d6 on a result of 5 through 6. Deal that character 1 damage. Okay. So that's nice. So we can up his damage up to a 4 base. If we want to. He has a 2 damage, and then we can up it with 4 if we had 2 David Kanes. Then we also go Perplex up his attack to a 10. But then he also gets, just put a bow in my hands. When Arsenal makes a ranged combat attack, he may modify his attack value by +2, or he may modify both his attack and damage values by +1. So yeah, we can get his attack where his damage value's up pretty good. So that's nice as well. Let's see what else. Robin's okay. Not necessarily the greatest. I think Arsenal's looking like our #1 contender. I'll take that back. Bat Cycle. Bat Cycle is our #1 contender. The Bat Cycle is because we have a 6 range, 10 attack, 3 damage, and we're getting all that stuff boosted. And for all intensive purposes, the game doesn't know better. So there we go. Bat Cycle is a good contender. Then we also can look at, who else can we look at? I think it's that Batgirl. There's the Batgirl with the electromagnet gooperangs, but she's going to be using her Perplex on her range. So we don't really need to be stressing about her. I thought the other Batgirl was cheaper. I guess not. I think she's like 80 points. That one is awesome. Let's see, we got Dick Grayson. Sort of okay. Batwoman. It's okay again. Yeah, it's not that great. Batwing is definitely not an option. Let's see. Let's keep going. Gravity Feed. Don't fail me now, Gravity Feed. Batgirl from the Gravity Feed at 25 points. No, that one sucks. I forgot about that. Really? I hate to say it. We don't have that many options. We really don't. I mean, you can do the Batmobile on autopilot, Batwing on autopilot, Invisible Jet on autopilot, and you can do the GCPD Cruiser on piloted or autopilot. Military tank as well, haunted tank. I don't think you can really do the bug, can you? Why did the bug show up? I think anyway. But the haunted tank in piloted mode, military tank in piloted mode is excellent. Actually, probably one of the better options, because what'll happen is if you hit 2 David Canes, you can perplex up his attack to an 11, get enhancement up to a 5 damage, plus he's given enhancement to the other David Canes. It's all beautiful. And he can carry the David Canes around. So those are options as well. So that's just some stuff for you to think about. I really do think that the team packs are sort of screwing you over, and I mean, and that's one of the biggest downsides of dealing with No Man's Land month 6 is after you've done all those seals, after you've done all those games, you're just stuck with a lot of extra product, and for how expensive it is, definitely the team packs, it can just get frustrating. It can get really, really frustrating. So, I encourage you all to make trades, make friends, get together with people, go in collectively, don't buy individually. Tell your store like, yo, here's the deal. If we buy X amount of product, we don't do sealed. Just tell them straight up, because we can't afford it, and say, this is what we'll do. You write down a list of who's doing what and who paid what and who bought from the store, and you can still run those events, and all the locals who paid in and bought product together, we don't have to pay for sealed. We just bring a team because we've already paid. And so as long as it's from that set or whatever else, get creative, people, or y'all pay like $2 or something like that, or $1 or 50 cents. But you've more than invested into that store. So it's time for your store to start looking out for you. Whoo! I've been recording for over 2 hours. So that's it. All right. This is the Starting Over Podcast. You can hit me up on Twitter at StartOverPod. That's at StartOverPod. There's interesting things there. You can check out the blog, which I have thrown out there so much. It's startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. And, of course, if you like to email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. All right, this is it for the end of 2012. Episode 50 is rapidly approaching. Email me of what you want me to do on episode 50, and I have some plans of my own, so we might end up creating some sort of super episode. Again, I apologize for the length, just a tad. I know I used to have a lot of hour and a half shows, and I sort of dropped it around 40 to 50 minutes. And so I know a whole lot of people got used to that. So this is for all you classic listeners, a Giganto show. All right, that's it. End of 2012 is here. Enjoy it. Enjoy you in 2013. And hopefully I'll be making tons of podcasts and blog posts for all y'all. All right, thank you for listening. And remember, we all have to start over sometime.